Jetzt zu etwas ganz anderem. Ich möchte euch ein bisschen was aus meinem Privatleben erzählen. Ich war nämlich dieses Jahr schon auf Weltreise für knapp 3 Monate. Und ich habe eigentlich komplett alles spontan und online gebucht. Das heißt, jedes Hotel, jedes Airbnb, wo auch immer ich untergekommen bin, jedes Restaurant, wo ich essen war, habe ich eigentlich immer nur maximal 24 Stunden vorher im Netz gesucht und gefunden. Und ich war mal wieder erstaunt, wie gut es funktioniert hat. Das habt ihr sicher alle schon mal erfahren, wie schnell man spontan irgendwo sich fast schon zu Hause fühlt, weil es so viele gute Apps dafür gibt. Und ich war aber auch, wie soll ich sagen, enttäuscht, entsetzt über die mangelhafte Qualität der Algorithmen, die mir oft genug vorgeschlagen haben, doch bitte in Bangkok dieses Hotel zu buchen, wenn ich vorgestern gerade in Bangkok übernachtet habe und dann von Bangkok irgendwo anders hingeflogen bin. Richtig gut funktioniert hat für mich die künstliche Intelligenz, wenn man so weit gehen will, die Algorithmen so zu nennen, auf dieser Weltreise noch nicht. Und ich dachte eigentlich im Jahr 2018 sind wir da ein kleines bisschen weiter. Aber künstliche Intelligenz wird natürlich gerade für Travel-Marketeers in Zukunft eine riesige Rolle spielen, weil es natürlich super wäre, diese Vorschläge zu optimieren und mir quasi sozusagen zuerst zu sagen, wo ich gerne hinfahren und wo ich gerne übernachten möchte, bevor ich es überhaupt weiß. Ich wäre auf jeden Fall Kunde. Wir haben jetzt einen Herrn hier, er ist Vice President Solutions and Strategic Services bei Emarsys und er spricht mit uns, bei uns, für uns genau darüber, wie in Zukunft künstliche Intelligenz das Reisen noch schöner machen wird. Ladies and gentlemen, now for you on the deep dive stage, this is Raj Balasundaram. Raj, very warm welcome.
Thank you guys, thank you.
The stage is yours, you can start right away.
Excellent, all right.
You got 20 minutes.
Excellent.
Counting.
I'll do it, great. That's a hard act to follow, right, after Google. But I'm going to do something better. Let's look at this. I've got a story to tell you. Everybody will know the story about David and Goliath, right? Goliath, the big guy, David, the small guy, trying to kill the big guy, but he used a slingshot to kill him. Okay. Now, I want you to think about the story and then put it in the back of your mind. And I'm going to entertain you about artificial intelligence. I don't know when artificial intelligence became cool, but it is cool now, right? Anyway, so before I go into it, let me explain a few concepts about it. We have a thing called marketing continuum, right? People think about marketing as separate things. You know, think about content separately, think about timing separately, think about channels separately, or offers and things like that. But if you really think about it, all 4 of them work hand in hand, right? It's almost like an infinity loop. All have to work together with each other to give the right effect. And that's what I call as a marketing continuum. But in reality, what we really want as marketers is this. We want to do campaign for an audience of 1. We've been talking about it for ages. You know, I've been doing this for 10 or 15 years now, right? And everybody says, I do one-to-one personalization, I do the right timing, right content, right everything. But the reality is, we never did it, right? We always fooled ourselves saying, hey, you know, we do the right thing as marketers. But it's not our fault, because we didn't have the technology behind it, right? And I'm going to try and bring something into life where we can see how technology really is going to help us to do the next thing. You know, my mentor used to tell me, when you want to fix something, you have to understand what the problem is. Here is the problem, right? We as human beings, we can't handle large-scale stuff. We need something as a help from machines to help us to do what we want to achieve, right? Hence, if you think about it, human-driven personalization doesn't work. I'll tell you why. Let's say you have a database of 1 million customers. Can you do 1 million campaigns individually? No, right? That is the truth. The first thing to fix the problem is to understand why we can't do individual campaigns. Because as a human-driven personalization, it's nigh on impossible. So enough of theory, okay? I'm going to give you a little bit more example on 2 different industries. One is in retail, the other one is in travel. Let's start with retail. Personalization in retail is very, very, very important because your customers are transient, they are coming in and out, they're moving in and out, so which means you need to target them at the right time, with the right content, with the right offer, and also in the right channel, right? You've heard this like 1,000,000 times. I'm sure you've been in different shows and stages, and everybody said the right. But the reality is, we all did it wrong, right? But the problem is, as an individual, it's difficult. I'll explain why. We have customers who came to us and say, hey, you know what? We've got this Black Friday event, and I'm losing margin because everybody is giving 30%, 40% discounts, and I'm losing margin. It's difficult, right? First of all, here's the thing. I don't know when Black Friday became a big thing in Europe, right? It's an American thing. Suddenly it's in Germany. Suddenly it's in UK. What? When did Black Friday become a big thing in Europe? It's a huge thing now, right? The reality is we're succumbing to it. The reality is it's here. So which means, suddenly the European marketers are stressing about margins and, price drops and things like that. So customers came to us and say, hey, you know what? I need to figure out how to do this offer. So which actually means not everybody in your database are looking for a 30% discount. I'll tell you the reason why. My wife, she's the Queen of England, right? She goes to a shop, and if she sees 5% discount, she'll just buy it straight away, no matter what, right? I'm like the typical guy. I wait for the right offer. If it's not 50%, I'm not buying, right? Straight away, just in my household, there are two individuals with different propensities of buying. So if you had 1,000,000 customers in your database, which means there are 1,000,000 possible combinations and permutations, right? So which means you need to give them different offers. So which means there's a trade-off between how much of profit you can get, how much of conversion rate you can get. That's where you bring in artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is something which needs to give you a solution, right? It's not scary. You don't need people in lab coats to do AI. Here is a statement. If you have realized that you're using AI in marketing, that means AI has actually failed. You should not even realize that you're using artificial intelligence. That's a fact, right? And that's the beauty of artificial intelligence. You don't need teams and teams of people doing things for you. AI is something which needs to be self-contained. It needs to be a simpler solution where you can go and say, hey, you know what? I can adjust my strategy to say, I want to give the higher conversion rates or the higher percentage discounts for people who probably won't convert. But people who will convert, I want to give them a lower offer. And that needs to be continuously adjusted as you go along. We put that in play. It's a simple algorithm. It actually looks at different people, different propensities, and puts out different offers for them. Guess what? We've got customers like Evolution Slimming. They're a very small customer base. They're an e-commerce customer, pure e-com customer. They're fighting with the big boys in the business, like the retailers, right? And they deployed it. You know why? They're not scared. They've got nothing to lose. However, what was important for them is that they retain the margin because they don't have the same amount of margin as the big retailers do. So margin makes a big difference, right? Guess what? The retention rate went through the roof, the conversion rate went through the roof, but most importantly, the revenue, they retained the revenue and the profit. That's the key, right? I'm going to talk about another industry, which is travel. Here's the thing about travel, right? It's a big industry. But marketing in travel is so archaic, it's so bad. And I'm going to give you a very specific example where, marketers missed the trick when it comes to travel, right? I'm going to put up something on the screen. Everybody tries to market to the customer before they've booked something, right? It's what we call as customer life cycle. This is what marketers do all the time. Oh, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to try and get them to book something, right? But if you think about a specific industry like an airline industry, right? The money you make prior to booking is very less. But you can make a lot of money or actually sell to your customers by serving them correctly during the booking life cycle, i.e. the point when somebody makes the booking right through to the point when they're actually flying and coming back home, right? Which is what we call as the booking life cycle. But then again, there is another ethical thing comes into play. Do I want to sell the most profitable item from my side, or do I want to position something which the customer needs the most, right? Which is an eternal debate which happens between companies and marketers. Hence, what we tend to do is we try and help customers understand where they can strike a balance, right? Try and put something in front of the customer which is most relevant for them, and also something which is also profitable for the company, and work downwards, right? It sounds simple, but if you think about it, it's actually tough, because you will have, I don't know, like 25, 30 different ancillaries. Some of the airlines have 300 ancillaries, right? And then you have 1 million customers. If you multiply it by that 300 into 1 million, that's like a 300 million combinations, right? It's huge, right? That's where the machines come into play. Let me give you an example. Assuming a customer just made a booking, right? Just bought an airline seat. But they haven't bought any, let's say, they haven't reserved a seat or anything. You can actually put a message in front of them saying, hey, it's actually getting busy. You can actually put a very live seating map in front of them saying, hey, your favorite exit seat is not there. I mean, perfect example is me. If I don't get the exit seat, I'll be begging someone to give me the exit seat, right? Like for people like me, I just need that. It's an essential part of what I do, right? Let's say I've already bought the exit seat, right? Then, you can actually help them to sell the next thing. Now, Ryanair, as you know, they've actually brought in a thing saying if you haven't bought your priority ticket, you can't take a hand luggage, right? For me, extra hand luggage in the compartment is compulsory, because I need to get out of the flight straight away with half an hour to spare to go to another meeting, right? That's progressively trying to get the customer to buy stuff, because sometimes customers are thinking, you know what, I just bought a 30 pounds or 40 pounds worth of seat, but my ancillaries are like another 200 pounds. They don't want that, right? They want to pick and choose what is appropriate for them. And that's where AI can come into play, which can help you position all these products, not in one go, but over a period of time. And that's what we call as progressive ancillary revenue capture, right? Imagine doing this on your own, trying to deploy a campaign on a Monday, on a Wednesday or a Friday, trying to capture every single customer in your database. I tell you, it's not possible at all. And I'm going to make a bold statement here. Segments, right? We all do segments on a daily basis. But here's the thing. Segments are dead, right? The moment you start with segments, you're actually putting your customer into a bucket where they don't belong. How would you feel when somebody comes and says, you belong to segment 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm going to do this for you? Wouldn't you say, oh, no, I'm different. Why are you treating me like everybody else? Right? That's the thing, the moment we start thinking about segments, marketing is dead, because you're not going with the promise of marketing. The promise of marketing is one-to-one personalization. Hence, I was picking the subject today, because personalization and segmentation are not different. They're one and the same. We couldn't do it this far, not because we didn't want to do it, not because we wanted to annoy our customers. We didn't do it because we didn't have the tech behind us, right? And suddenly, there's a tech which comes along, which is called as AI, right? It's scary on its own. Leave that for a minute. But if you can employ a tech like AI, you can suddenly go to an audience of one, right? You can suddenly do a campaign of one and do the most important thing you are meant to do. Do the creatives, right? Look at business problems. Look at, hey, how do I want to look at profitability or revenue? Because that's the future, if you think about it, right? And here's the thing. A lot of customers come to me and say, how can I adopt AI? It's difficult, it's scary, you know? It's rocket science. Probably is, but it has to be simplified, and that's what we're doing, right? What we're trying to do is we are trying to put an interface in front of customers which makes things simple. First of all, fear of the unknown, right? Fear of the unknown is the biggest thing. I don't want to give controls to the machine. Fine, no problem. What you can do is you can take a percentage of your database and say, hey, you know, I want to use machine learning algorithms or AI algorithms to create my profitability, okay? And then you have a couple of sliders here where it talks about revenue versus churn versus profitability. As marketers, this is what we should be doing. Not sending a campaign on a Monday, Wednesday, and a Friday, not creating automation journeys, right? I have customers who come to me and very proudly say, I have 300 journeys in my campaign. Great. Do you only have 200 customers or 300 customers? So that means you've lost some of your customer base anyway, right? You're playing what is called as the law of averages, which is not right. With GDPR coming in, it's going to be even more difficult to get to communicate with a customer, right? Retention is the only play we have because acquisition is going to get difficult, right? So which means you have to treat every single person in your database as gold. If you don't treat them as gold, they're going to leave. And that's the most important thing. And you can't do it on your own. You need the help of machines to do what you need to do, right? I'm going to go back to the first story I told you, right? David, Goliath, and all that kind of stuff, right? If you think about it, the big boys in the business, the big retailers in the business, right? They always ruled the world. They had so much of margin, they had so much of presence, they had so much of money, they were like literally giants. But then suddenly, if you think about it, last 10 years ago, you had the e-commerce people coming in, like the pure play e-commerce providers, right? At that point in time, e-commerce was the slingshot. They took down a lot of giants at that point in time. A lot of high street retailers went down because of the fact they used tech, which is e-commerce technology, to beat the high street retailers, right? And then suddenly the big retailers thought, oh, whoa, hang on, what's happening here? I'm just losing something. So they also started, online shopping. Now, it's almost a normal thing for the big retailers to also have, e-commerce business, and they have click and collect and all the rest of it. Now the e-commerce guys are getting twitchy. It's like, you know what, there's something missing. I need something more. I need something different. I need the next slingshot, right? You know what they did? They turned to technology again. You know what that technology is? Is artificial intelligence. You know why I'm saying that? Because currently, all the people who are doing artificial intelligence in marketing are pure play e-commerce provider, with an exception of a few retailers. Only a few, right? So what's going to happen is they're going to take down the big boys again. It already started 2 years ago. And in the UK and Europe, you're already seeing the effects of the retailers going down. You know why? Because the pure play e-com providers have figured it out. They said, like, you know what? AI is the next big thing. I'm going to do it. And the thing is, it's not a myth anymore. It's not some form of blue sky thinking. It's real. It's here. Customers are already using it. I know a customer called Brand Alley who are nailing it time after time after time. They are doing it so well, now they're going out and acquiring other companies to adopt the AI technology, right? Here is the thing. Don't be scared of it. AI is here. So you have to embrace it, but the most important thing is understanding the actual issue behind it, right? If we try to do this on our own, right, or using the existing automation techniques, it's going to be difficult. It's the truth. It's the fact, right? So we all need a little bit of help, and that little bit of help is AI. So for today, I want you to take away 3 things, not many things, 3 things. First of all, if you try to do this as a human being on your own using existing automation techniques, number 1, you're violating the customer. That's the first thing, right? So which means human-driven personalization doesn't scale. The second thing is, segments are dead, right? That's the most important thing. The third thing is, if AI is scary, and if AI needs a lot of input from you, or if it needs people in lab coats, it's not successful. Don't use it. Don't use it. Very simple, right? You should not even see the AI working in the background, right? And that comes from a techie, right? You should not even see it. And that's when it's the most successful implication or implementation of AI, right? And the last thing is, if you want to take down Goliaths, and if you're in a David's position right now, your slingshot is artificial intelligence. You guys have been a rock star. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Raj. Thanks a lot for that stunning talk.
Cheers.
Great to have you here.
Ready?
And now I'm going to repeat a little story I told the audience in German before you came on stage, because I did a around the world trip this winter.
I see.
I came back too early, actually, regarding the weather, and I blamed these huge names of I say like Booking.com, Agoda.com. I blamed them for not doing what you just ambassadored on stage, because sometimes they made me angry, offering me a hotel room in Bangkok when I just left Bangkok.
Exactly, yeah.
And I booked the room via whatever.
Yeah.
And then like 2 days later, an email came like, oh yeah, we have nice hotels in Bangkok.
Yeah.
They should know that I just left the city, and I do need a hotel room, but I don't know, in Ho Chi Minh City now.
Exactly, yeah.
So what are they doing wrong? Are they not doing any of that? Are they doing it wrong? What's
They're
going
using
on?
existing automation techniques, right? There's nothing wrong, because that's what we know all along, right? Now there's a new wave, which is artificial, which is coming in, where even handling data has become more easier. You know, we can handle terabytes and terabytes of data in seconds. So which means then we'll know in real time that you're in this particular city, you need this, I need to do that, which means I can individually personalize something for you. That's the thing. It's as simple as it is. It's just tech catching up.
Okay, so it's possible today, but they should call you. Let's make it.
Yeah, if you can call me, that's great. My thing's on LinkedIn. Please connect with me. I would welcome your feedback, your opinions. I would love it.
And you're going to be around for a while.
I'll be around there, so just come and grab me if you need to. Plus, we also have a booth in A4, I think.
Okay.
All right.
That's great. So take the story from there. Thanks very much, Raj.
Thank you.
And we're going to have a short, tiny little break. And at 11:55, um 11:55 Uhr sharp geht es weiter mit Pablo Rochert. Bis gleich.
Thank you. Thank you.